Hello everyone, my name is DougWilson, and this is my final project for our SQL class. In this project, I was going to try to show the difference in sales between the Android and Apple's iOS operating systems in sales between the United States, China, and India for the years 2012 and 2013. I started by finding the sales by operating system for the years 2012 and 2013. Total sales in the millions, and then I tried to break down those sales for each year by the percentages that they sold in the US, China, and India, just for those three countries. This below here represents the operating system, the year, the country, and the sales in millions for the three countries I've been using, which are the United States, China, and India. And then once I'm done with this, I usually save this as a CSV file. And then I like to take that information and dump it into a program called Sublime Text 2, which is a programming tool, which is kind of easier for me, and it's a way for me to view what I'm writing coding-wise, because it can break things down by it. As you can see here, like you can pick like things, and you can find and replace things easily, and add brackets in front of things, and a lot of things that's easier when you're trying to code as opposed to trying to do these things by hand. It's a really good tool, and so once I have everything that I need in here, I then would take this information and typically copy and paste it into, sorry about that, I'd copy and paste these things into our SQL editor once we have once we create a database, and then I can highlight all this information and run my query. And you see it just deleted that table, or dropped the table, created a new table with all the information that we've had before. And then from here, here's the code to output to a CSV file in my public folder. And then I can connect that data to Tableau. So as you can see here, Apple's iOS was the leader in the US sales for 2012, but then lost ground to Android for 2013, where Android became the #1 smartphone operating system in the United States. The Android iOS is used by many smartphone manufacturers worldwide, which gives it an edge because Apple's iOS is proprietary just to Apple. And this fact helps Android to gain sales worldwide by using many different manufacturers. The Android OS is used in most smartphones that are not produced by Apple. In the US, sales typically peak during our holiday season because that's when they choose to release phones, and that's when people are most willing to make these large purchases for themselves and friends and family. So you can see for the fourth quarter, from October to December for 2012 and also for 2013 in the US, that's when they have their sales peaks, 28 million and 25 million. And in China, sales for Android tends to peak just when new products are released, which was 2012, the third quarter, and then again the second quarter of 2013, iOS was released in the fourth quarter of 2012, so that's when they had their peak. And as you can see represented here, the sales of the Android operating system really dwarf those in the US for 2012. I mean, that's not true. I'm sorry, but in the US, the sales were close for 2012. But I mean, the Android operating system as a whole sells way more units. But in the US, for 2012, iOS beat out Android. And then by 2013, the US sales of the Android operating system had overtaken iOS sales. And globally, Android is the #1 choice of operating system for smartphone users, and will probably have 1 billion users of the Android system, of the Android operating system, by 2015. And that's it. Thanks.